What's up, everybody? It's Chad. I'm back again with another episode of Ask Chad Grassy Logic. I'm here with my buddy Blake, and we're going to be talking about a couple of conversations today. So thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course, man. It's always great to have new guests in every week. So it's great to have someone from the industry, especially from your side and everything, to come in because I like having that perspective.
Of course. Yes.
So thank you again for joining me today. We have a couple good conversations to talk about. One thing popped up right before the show started, so I'll get you guys that information at the end of the show. So without further ado, let's get started with today's episode. So thank you for joining me again, man. And
course,
why don't you just tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
My name's Blake. I'm born and raised here in Las Cruces, so I'm a hometown kid. From an agriculture background, born and raised on a farm, and in Mesilla Park, vegetables, pecans, stuff like that. So really, heavy on the agriculture background. Grew up playing sports here, went to Cruces High, all that good stuff. And I just stayed here in town after I graduated, just stayed here in town. Was always, interested in cannabis and, of course, partaked in high school and whatnot. And, just as I got older, started taking it more seriously, stayed here in town, worked for a family company till about my mid-20s, and then started, focusing on myself and doing other things and started branching out and whatnot. So, but just never left Cruces. I like Cruces. I didn't really want to venture out. It's becoming bigger and bigger. So, I feel comfortable here, and, there's a lot of opportunities coming to this city and this state now. So
yeah, and Cruces has really been expanding, especially if you look north of town. That's where mostly the city is actually expanding. You have the NASA employees over there, you have the Virgin Galactic employees over there, of course, White Sand Missile Range is in that direction, so you have all those military people that live there too that are off post. So yeah, the Cruces is getting a lot bigger. There's a lot more coming here.
Yes.
Not just cannabis. The Virgin Galactic thing was really big for us.
It was really good.
We'll see where that goes for the future. As you guys know, they stopped operations, I think, for the next 2 years while they're building another spaceship. I'm a big nerd. I love space, so of course I was going to pay attention to that.
Right.
So yeah, it was really cool. I actually got to see the first launch.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, the first
That's awesome.
launch. I was headed down from Albuquerque, and I was like, you know what? Just take a detour.
Yeah, why not?
I'll go check it out. And by the time I got there, you could see it flying in. It was when they were landing. I was like, that's cool. Yeah. Because I got to see it pausing for a little bit because you could barely see it.
Yes.
And then you see it come down, and I finally got to see it land. But it was wild.
That would have been sick. Yeah.
It was
an actual spaceship.
It's a spaceship.
It's not aircraft. It's a spaceship. So
yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was. There was a guy that brought a couch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he brought a couch from his house.
There?
Yeah, he had a horse trailer, and I guess he had put it in his horse trailer. And people were parked out because we weren't allowed to actually go to the facility where they were. It was VIP or whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
So all the peasants, we had to stay outside and stay by the road and everything and watch it from there. So that was really interesting. So
Still, though, it would have been cool to see though. Yeah, especially like I said, the coming, whatever they call it, coming back in the
landing, the approach, and everything,
whatever, yeah.
Yeah, and then the movie industry, that's something that's really
big
been big in Cruces. I think they get another 2%, on the tax incentives.
Yes.
In Cruces, so that's bringing more movies in. Actually, I think Signs Gorditas was closed yesterday.
Wow.
Because they were filming a movie over there.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, yeah, I worked in Mesilla at a dispensary down there. That was my first one, and they would have, I think, 3 movie sets we saw while I was there, and
just last year, 5 houses from my house was a movie.
Yeah, there you go. See, and they like this rustic look, and especially in Mesilla, in the square, they love. There's always movie sets being set up there, so it is. It's good for the state. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Well, I guess we bored you guys enough to talk about Cruces. So let's talk about you again. How long have you been in the industry for?
So officially. A little over a year. Right?
Okay, a little over a year.
Last March, I started, like I said, my first dispensary was down in Mesilla, Cannabis Tropical. That is now, I believe, Green Street.
It's new owners.
Yes, new owners. Judah's my man. I really appreciate. Honestly, I'm glad that was my first opportunity. He gave me a shot. Of course, it's really hard to get in the industry. It's hard to. I hate to say it, but honestly, it's kind of who you know, not what you know.
Yeah.
It's like or it's 50-50, but you really need to know people in this industry to get in. And he taught me and trained me very well. He taught me on BioTrack. It was just me and him. If you know him and know how he ran his shop, he was there from open to close. Didn't have very many employees. If he did, they'd just come and go, just helping and whatnot. But I was there for about 6 months. from March to October. And but I really enjoyed that experience. He taught me well how to treat customers, taught me all the systems, the products, introduced me to some people, with the industry.
Yeah.
And then, just a better opportunity came, and I went to Premier High Life, and I was a company manager there for about, that was a short time, for about 4 or 5 months. And then just a lot of shady stuff happened with the landlords that we were working with. So yes, so that's in limbo, you know what I'm saying? So that's when I was, looking for a new company. And then I ran into, or got a good opportunity with Black's House. I just put out resumes, and I think they were my last spot. I dropped off my resume that one day. I dropped off 7. I had 7 printed out, and got called back the next day, and got hired the next day after that. So
cool.
It was really, your experience matters too, So they saw my experience. I was, manager at Cannabis Tropical, manager at a Premier High Life. So they called me in. They're like, what are you looking for? I said, anything. I'm ready to take production, bud tender. And they're like, well, we have like a bud tender shift lead. I was like, I'll take it. I don't care. Even if I'm stepping back, and its titles don't mean nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? I'll work my way up, and I'll get to where I want to be. You know what I'm saying? So, so it's been a little over a year, and I've always been, like I said, in high school. Of course, mess around with it in high school, and but like I said, in my early 20s, I started consuming it as medicine. You know what I'm saying? Actually, saw the benefits. I was on pain pills. I have a bulging disc, pinched nerve at the same spot. I think it's called a protrusion, extrusion. So, I was that helped me get off the pills, you know what I'm saying? And it really did. It really helped transition me. So that's when I became like serious about it as a medicine. And so I'm 33 now, so about 13 years, I've really been not an advocate, but a connoisseur, and really do believe it to be a medicine.
Yeah.
Really do.
Yeah.
So I've seen its benefits firsthand. I've seen it change my life, seen it change other people's lives. So I really enjoy being in this industry. I'm not just a pothead, you know what I'm saying? And I really do enjoy doing what I do and helping people find their medicine.
Yeah, so you've had your cannabis card for quite a while then.
Yes, yeah. Yes, it's on and off since 2010 was my first card, or I believe, if I go back and look. Yes, it was my first card. And but back then, I'm sure it was what, 1 or 2 places, and it wasn't up to par back then. I hate to say, but we were very new back then. We still are new. Mm-hmm. So, but thank God it has really, the past, I would say 3-4 years have really been putting out some good quality medicine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had my card for a while. I was actually one of the youngest back then. I was like 20 something. So I was like, one of the youngest people to actually be in the, I think I was 20 to be in the system. A few 18-year-olds, a few 16-year-olds, of mm-hmm. course, with their parents' consent. But yeah, so I've been in it for a while. I've seen it progress. Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, so, no, 2010. I didn't get my card to 2013. So you've actually been around in the industry longer than I have.
Okay, wow.
So yeah, especially here in New Mexico, because I was jumping around doing some contracting and stuff after I got out of the military.
I've always been here, but yeah.
So that's pretty cool, man. That you have that history and those facts, because I was told before 2013 when I got here that the way things were, blah blah blah. Because by the time I got my card, there were a couple of dispensaries, but not many. And I was living in Alamogordo, so the only place I could go to was Ruidoso.
Oh yeah,
yeah, without like a border check or anything.
Yes, I don't know. I can't remember the name of it, but yes, it was a decent one.
Compassionate Distributors.
There you go, Compassionate. There you go. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I remember them. Yep.
Yeah, whole controversy around that whole thing. I won't get into that.
Early days. It's the early days.
Yeah, early days. Back in the medical days when we had no clue what was going on. Actually, there was no testing back in the early days. Like there was a requirement for the producers to test the cannabis. Testing in New Mexico is actually fairly new.
Yes.
Like
that's what people don't understand. A lot of people that are either new to the industry or just like a patient or not like, into all the, fine print and whatnot. They don't know that testing is only legitimate testing, maybe 5 years, maybe a little bit more than that. 5 years. Not even 10 years. So,
so we're not even hitting 8 years. So that's why I stress it so much about testing, because we never had it really. So we need it. And the fact that we have it here, and there's all kinds of stuff going on. So we'll figure it out one day, but that's history. So what did you do before you got into the industry?
So, like I said, I worked for my family business. We actually owned Air Hydraulics right down the street
Okay.
since the 70s. My grandpa started it, and we owned it for about 48 years, I believe.
Dang.
We closed in 2016.
Okay.
And it was a farm implement business, hoses, fittings, stuff like that for tractors and semi trucks and stuff like that. So we just decided to close that, sold the building, and we and in hindsight, I actually told my parents and grandparents we should keep it and rent the building now. Being in the industry, I said we could rent this building potentially in the future to a dispensary.
Yeah.
And it's big enough, someone would have put a lounge, production, something in there too. But they wanted the money up front. They didn't want to do the maintenance with it. So whatever, it is what it is. So then I actually started doing vintage reselling
Okay.
in 2019.
Yeah.
2019 became, and started as just a hobby. I actually didn't think it was going to become anything. I thought it was a joke, honestly. But man, I got into it, got into the culture, still am, and I honestly made a big name for myself down
Nice.
here. Met a lot of really big people. I don't know if you know Slobby Robbie. He's if you're not into vintage, he's a nobody. But if you're a vintage head or into vintage, you know him. He is big. He owns Generation Cool in Tucson. He became like my mentor in a sense. I met him. He saw my potential, saw my inventory. I became like a wholesaler to him. He'd buy big bundles at a time. Traveled with him, went to shows with him. People knew me as his little buddy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like I said, made really good money doing that. It was during the COVID times too. So it was something that I could do. It did hurt us a little bit because in the beginning we couldn't have gatherings, big gatherings.
You couldn't travel either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we had to. That's when it became big on Instagram. That's when we started doing those Instagram lives, selling and whatnot, and then Depop came along, and so then just I kind of phased out. I just always wanted to be in the cannabis industry. That is my true passion. Vintage still is a passion, but like I said, my true passion is the cannabis industry. I've always wanted to be in it. I just truly believe in it as, like I said, a medicine. It helps people. It's just something I truly am passionate about. It's just something that I slowly but surely, like I said, I had to pick one or the other. I had to put everything into one or the other. I can't, like I said, I'm either traveling, looking for inventory, doing this, or, I have to do this, So I just stopped, and like I said, because I got an opportunity to go in there with Judah, and so I just took it,
Yeah.
But that's what I was doing right before cannabis was vintage reselling. That's actually how I met Rob, Jed, and Andrew. Dabro, he was just on last week, wasn't he?
The week before, I believe, a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
So it's actually how I met them at the show. They went there to a grand opening of a vintage and shoe store, and that's he was there.
Sounds
and
about right.
That's how I met him, and then they came, or that's how I met Slobby, and they came, and we all met, and they saw my inventory. They became like customers. We hung out, and of course they taught me the art of rolling. Of course, you can't hang around those guys without being taught rolling and about good quality products. So that's what actually got me. They got me into thinking about quality. About actually good quality products. That there is a standard. There is a level of, like I said, what people think is fire is not always fire. Like what they were saying. So. But yeah, so that's actually how I met them, was through vintage reselling. So
that's pretty cool. It's a cool little story. That I like to ask people, what their background was before, because you wouldn't believe how many different industries people came from before they got into cannabis.
Yes.
This is the first time you're hearing someone coming from like a vintage background.
Right, yeah.
So that's really interesting. Yeah, of course you have the common one where people come from medical backgrounds. You have some that come from marketing backgrounds.
Agriculture backgrounds.
Agriculture, that's one of the number one that I've heard is agriculture backgrounds.
Like I said, coming from agriculture, we see being neighbors with farms, land. You know what I'm saying? We've seen the transition. We've seen hoop houses coming up, and my
Yeah.
dad's like, oh, I wonder what they're putting in there.
Yeah,
You
and the thing that
know,
blows my mind are the farmers that decide to grow cannabis, and then certain ones have neighbors, and the neighbors are upset that the farmer decided to change his crop. And I'm
Yes.
like, you moved next to the farmer, not the other way
yes,
around. Like,
yes.
so if the farmer decides to grow whatever, that's his land. That's
Even if you are established, like
Yeah.
like we are, like we've been there. Shit, my family saying since the 50s, and
Yeah.
let's say, you know, even if our neighbor they want to change their crops, my dad's not gonna, I mean, turn his nose to it, because
Yeah.
he knows we make money off of our crops. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And if you want to, instead of pecans, you want to grow marijuana. I don't know. Pecans are very lucrative. You know, I haven't grown the two, but I would think marijuana is more lucrative. But you know what I'm saying? So yes, I don't see why anyone would get mad at that. Like you said, you're bettering your family. It's your choice, and it's a legitimate crop nowadays.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
a legitimate industry. You know,
Yes.
like people, argue about the smell, this and that. But you know how many times I've argued about cow shit smells, and I get told that's the smell of money.
Manure, chicken
Yeah.
shit.
Or oil,
Mhm.
petroleum or oil.
Mhm.
You go to Hobbs, New Mexico, on the way there, you're smelling oil almost about quarter way of the drive.
And we have to pass to get to our farm. We pass Desert Peaks. I don't know if
Yeah.
we're dead. So we pass that facility, and of course, during certain phases of the grow, you can smell it out by the road. My dad says that same thing. He smells like money, because he understands that's money. Just like you said, it's a crop, and he was very stigmatized, especially when growing up. When I was in high school, he found out, oh, you don't smoke that shit, like a lot of these old school farmers down here are. They're very stigmatized, and especially his age group, the 60-year-olds, the baby boomers,
And what's crazy is they're the largest users of cannabis. They're the
Yes.
largest group who
Yes.
uses cannabis. It
Yes.
blows my mind.
But they're
also the largest group who's like
Yes.
still brainwashed from Reefer
Yes.
Madness era.
Yes.
It's an interesting thing, because you have just polars. You have like the ones that are like, oh yeah, I use cannabis all the time. I grow it in my backyard.
Yes.
Then you have the other ones that are in the same age group. They're like,
Uh-huh.
oh, that will kill you,
Yeah.
and then it'll turn you into a zombie,
Yeah.
and then you'll be a zombie Godzilla or something weird.
That's like my dad said. He goes, I smoked it one time, and it was late, son. That crystal shit, that shiny shit that's on there, it's drugs, son. I'm telling you. I'm just like, oh man. And then now, because I educated him as I grew up and came out of his household, and hey, Dad, this is what it is. I'm my own person, and was able to show him and educate him a little bit. He didn't like it, but now as it became legal and more legal and more legal, and then I was in the industry, and he sees me being, and other people that he knows being a productive citizen. It hasn't changed me for the worse. It's helped me. So he's very open to it now. If you smoke it, you do it, and you get your shit done, it doesn't matter. Just don't smoke it around him. You can go smoke it around him, but don't be smoking it next to him. You know what I'm saying? Go do your shit, come back, and keep it out of my eyes. He don't care. So now it's just like that's how he is now, and I'm glad that he is changed changed his ways of thinking. Because my mom's the total opposite. She partakes everything. So not everything, but she partakes and enjoys it and thinks of it as medicine as well.
Yeah.
So.
And that's how my family sees it too. My dad's I've been helping him grow for the past few years. And when I first started on this journey, he was very weary, scared about losing his teaching job, this and that. But by about the last 6, maybe about 7 years, he was a teacher. He actually had his medical cannabis card for those last few years. So, it changed night and day. Now he's retired and grows every year.
Oh,
like,
see,
hey, son, look at these plants. And,
and it's weird to be like the kind of same way to actually talk to my dad about cannabis now. So but it's cool, like I said, because he is open to it. He's like, how much tips you get? And I said, well, I make it easy around $20 to $40, and he goes, and like we're talking about it, and he goes, he just first he goes, I understand. He goes, you deserve more tips, son. Shit, just by how you're talking to me and telling me, he goes, you deserve more tips. And I was like, hey, but that's what we get tipped for, is our knowledge. As a bud tender, as someone that's what we're being tipped for. I see it because that's when I do get a bigger tip or a nicer tip, is when I do educate somebody or spend my time with somebody and give them exactly what they're looking for, or teach them something new. That's when I do see the tip be bigger. So they actually enjoy being dealt with and spent time with and educated. So that's what I try to do with every customer. Spend my time with them and get them what they need.
Yeah.
Because it is medicine.
And that's one reason why I wanted to have someone like you on here. I like having, the bud tenders, the boots on the ground.
Right.
The people who know exactly what's going on in the industry, what the trends are.
True.
Yes. Yeah, because you guys know exactly what trends are going because you see it from the customers, and the customers tell you what trends there are.
Yes.
You don't make the trends. You guys just recognize them, which is great, and it's a great tool to have. And it's unfortunate that certain owners in this industry, they don't rely on their bud tenders as much as they should, and they don't, really cater to
value
their
bud tenders. Honestly.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes.
Like they pay them like crap. They try to take the tips.
Yes.
This and that. They treat them almost like an opposition. Versus someone who's a very huge asset to your team. If certain people could see that how much of an asset a bud tender is, it would blow your mind. They would pay the money to get them more educated. Because that in return turns into money.
Oh wait, it's repeat customers, it's word of mouth. They go there, he's exactly just like you said. It's going to turn into more money.
There's a reason why a few businesses in the state make over $1 million a month.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's customer service, it's the quality of product that they have, it's everything for something for everybody, et cetera, et cetera. List goes down, the check marks are going off.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's great to have you on here because you can just tell it how it is.
Exactly.
Especially from that balance. So let's talk about that a little bit more. You've been working at Wax House and everything. How has the landscape for you changed from there to other places? Are you kind of like able to educate a little bit more?
So I've always been educated in everything from flour to concentrates to edibles. Of course, as a bud tender, like you said, we need to we don't create the trends, but we need to. It's always been my hobby anyway, so I've always been up with the trends. I've always been following. I've always been seeing. I always know what's coming up next. I'm always on top of things. So as a bud tender, I just transitioned that as now it's my job. So we have to. A good bud tender needs to be on top of those things. It needs to be educated and be on top of those trends, and not just see it as I'm standing behind a register. I'm just watching the register. Because there are some bud tenders that I'm sorry to say that not just some. There's a lot of bud tenders that are just that they're not very educated. They're nice. They may know customer service, but they're just there to sell products. They're not really there to educate or try and go up and beyond. Yeah. And so that's what I've always tried to do. I want to be treated and educate. I want to treat them and educate them like I would want to be treated and educated, because I run into bud tenders total opposites, good and bad, and it's I want this experience, so I'm going to give this experience as well. And from other places, I really enjoy I loved everywhere I worked at, but at Wax House it's a very they let us really just run the place, honestly, as even a bud tender. Like I said, it's like a shift lead bud tender, and then we have another guy that's like a straight bud tender, and then we have our store manager. But all of us are on the same tier, when it comes to closing and opening, when it comes to keys. So they really treat us, like I said, good there. They, just like you said, they want good bud tenders. When it comes to hiring, they don't just put anyone behind there. They've looked, they vet, they call people in. I've seen, they do multiple interviews for the same position, and so when it came to me, they saw my experience and they're like, well, all we have is a bud. They didn't think I was going to take a bud tender or that kind of position. I was like, absolutely, I would take it, because like I said, I want to grow with the company, and this is a fresh new company. We've only been open 8 weeks. Yeah. So I was hired their second week. So I'm the first round of hires. You know what I'm saying? So our opinion matters there. We always the owners tell us, don't ever think your opinion doesn't matter. If there's anything you need, if you're uncomfortable, if you need anything, whatever we need to make us feel comfortable at work, they're going to provide it. And if the working environment there is just great. Like I said, we're on the same page with each other. We all respect each other. The owners treat us very good. They're there daily, so it's like we're all, like I said, we all mingle together on the daily. So I really like working there. It's a very good environment. I've learned a lot about concentrates. Obviously, Wax House being Wax House. So it's been a good experience. Very good experience so far. And like I said, I am excited to grow and see what other opportunities that there are there, because they've told me, they see good things for me there. They hired me to be more than just bud tender. They want me to be more, and so like I said, I'm excited to grow with this company because they're a very, very good company. And I don't know if you knew, but we own Roundhouse and Wax House, same company, same owners, just sister stores.
Okay.
So,
Are they from New Mexico, the owners?
yes.
Okay.
I actually went to school with one of the owners, Jordan Barber. He's the owner. He went to Oñate. He's a year actually younger than me. So I'm 33. He's 32. He's very successful. He's been in real estate since out of college. He was actually in the CBD industry before and just transitioned once it became legal. And then he went partners with the other owner of ours and brought him in when it became legal and started it. And like I said, they've been in it since, I don't remember how long, but I think 10 years now. I think they've been in it for about 10 years and have a lot of connections, good connections. And that also rolls over to our prices that we get. That's why our prices are like really good there. And
yeah, let's talk about Wax House for a little bit. You know, like what's the niche and everything? And yeah, let's talk about the prices and, you know, what do you guys really offer?
So, as for the name like Wax, like Wax House,
I can only assume with the name like that.
Yeah. We concentrate on concentrates. Our niche is concentrates. We got a big selection of rosin, BHO, diamonds. You know, whatever concentrate that you. But besides shatter, we haven't really. There's not a lot of shatter going around in the industry. I mean, good shatter. I would say I've seen it from a couple companies, but
the industry's in a weird transitional phase.
Yeah, it's weird. So everything's going to rosin, solventless, live resin. It's a lot of that right now. So we offer $40 grams starting, and that's Animus. And I don't know if you know about Animus. From the last year to this year, they have made a great. I mean, I'm sure you know about them. They have made a day and night change. They are doing so much better. All their product is flying off the shelves. I love it. Customers love it. Other producers, other wax producers, rosin producers are come in and actually buy their product and are smoking it for their head stash because it's good. So we do 40 gram, 3 for $100. That's our everyday prices. And then we got Frozen from Urban. That goes for $45 a gram. We have that at 20% off right now. So I think it goes 45, and that's $120 for 3. And then our BHO deals are 20 a gram, 3 for $55, and that's Animus products as well. And then we got $15 a gram. The company's THC extracts, and don't let that price fool you. They have put out some very good stuff. Brand new company. We just started carrying them last week, and they are flying off the shelves. People are loving that quality. We got baller jars in from them, 3.5 for 40, 5 grams for 55. So that's kind of our deal. The more you buy, the more you save. Our prices are already good, but the more you buy, the better it gets. Yeah. So that's like our niche, though. It's low prices, but even better when you buy more. Yeah. When you buy in bulk. So we're like Sam's Club. Yeah. And that's like our whole model. Our model is, even when you walk in, it's a different look, different setup. We got display cases all around. We got a bud bar. It's not just come up to the display case. Tell me what you want. It's right behind me, and I'll show it to you. No, you can actually go up to different display cases around the shop, look, see it, and then tell me what you want. If you want to smell it, I can get it from the fridge. Of course, we have testers, so we don't open all the fresh ones. We have testers to let you smell and whatnot. And if it's in the case, if it's the last one and it's in the case, you get 20% off the display just for it being open. So we try to cater to the medical patients. Yeah. We get 10% off everything, no matter what, every purchase, every day. And then first timers get 10%, but just being medical, you get automatically 10% every time that you walk in the door. And then so it's just, if you're medical, you're really saving a lot there.
Oh, you save 20% off the bat.
Yes,
right off the bat, you save 20%.
The tax.
Yeah, as soon as you walk in the door.
And then you're saving an extra 10 with us. Just for being. Yeah. And if you're rec, you can also stack your. If you're industry, boom. Your first time, boom. That's 20% right there. You get 10% first time, 10% industry. And if you're medical, 10%, so that's 30% right there. And so
you guys offer veteran discounts?
Yes, we do.
Awesome.
Veteran, senior, college, first time, everything. So yeah, we like I said, we don't just cater to cater to medical, but medical really does get a great deal there. that's what and that's what you should. You're medical for a reason. You paid for that. For that license. So.
And, some of you may not know this, you actually get higher dosages on the edible side if you're a medical cannabis patient.
Yes.
I've seen up to 1,000 milligrams at certain places.
Now they're coming,
now they're coming up with 1,000, which is great because medical cannabis patients, some reason, tend to use more cannabis than other people. Why? Probably because we need it.
Yes.
And there's people who do use it for like pain. You have the cancer patients, et cetera, et cetera. So they do have to use higher dosages, et cetera, and all that.
Yes.
So that's great that you guys have that. So your inventory is mostly extracts, and then you guys have flower and edibles and stuff. Okay, so you have a little bit of everything, but it's just mostly.
Yeah. So right now we carry so Roundhouse carries, like you said, Roundhouse is going to be the majority of the flower, and then they'll send people to us for the extracts, and if they want like higher end flower, like we got Lucky Cultivation, P37, we carry like the little better farms than, but still at a great price. We offer it at 80 a half, 150 for the full, and that's like I said, P37, Lucky Cultivation, and that's their whatever strains that they're putting out at the time. We had Garlic Storm from Lucky Cultivation. That's a really good one. What else do we have? Animal Mints from Lucky Cultivation. Whiplash, his Oreos, I believe, and then we had Tropical Runts from P37 that took second place for his Best Sativa Hybrid at the High Times Cannabis Cup last year.
Cool. Congrats to them.
That's really that's fire, and there's some fire stuff. And like I said, we have given it to you for the best prices in town. We for 150 full. Usually you can't find Lucky or P37 for under 200 an ounce. So. People are really happy with the quality and the prices that we're giving them. We don't do a lot of advertising. What we want, we don't even have Instagram. It's all word of mouth.
I tried to look. I couldn't find you guys' Instagram.
He is going to start one, but it said we want word of mouth right now. We want that word of mouth, and that's I'm there 5 days a week, so I see new customers every day. I'm seeing the growth. I'm seeing the cash outs bigger and bigger at night, or when we cash out during our shifts. It's constantly growing. We're getting people from other dispensaries, of course, coming to check us out, and they're becoming regulars. But it's just because we have a great selection at great prices. That's just our whole model, and he's built his reputation and these relationships with these companies, and so they honor their deal that they make. They give us player prices and don't shoot themselves in the foot by giving it to other dispensaries. So we do have better prices than you will. We will be able to beat anybody's prices if they have the same product, no matter what. So because of that, so Jordan's done a good job of solidifying good friendships and relationships in this industry. So that's shown with his prices and the products that he gets. So
and I've looked at the price, your guys' sales. It goes from the first month, and it didn't look great, but then the second month just
second month is we're doing awesome this month. Like I said, from the first month it was slow, but now it's like we're steady, constantly steady. It's good. And we're constantly growing, and we're like you said, 420 is coming up, so that's going to be a big deal for us. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of new customers through the door. Then we're planning to have all hands on deck. So
and 420 is an important time. And while we're on that, what's some advice you can give people for the holiday? They're going to be consuming. What are some safety, kind of things you can give them? Like, don't smoke and drive.
Exactly.
Don't eat an edible and think you're going to be good to drive.
You know your limits, honestly. Just know your limits. Like someone like us, we can smoke all day long and be okay. We can eat edibles all day long and be okay. So you just got to know your limits, And honestly, of course, people want to test their limits on 420. If you do that, just stay at home and sesh with the boys, or just get together and have a little sesh and chill. And if someone needs to make the munchie run, that's got to be the high tolerance guy. You know what I'm saying? That's got to be like someone like us, and okay, we got it. Or make sure the munchies are there. Order some pizza, like whatever. Just stay at home. You know what I'm saying? And smoking and driving is the big one, because of course, you're going to be hotboxing it most of the time, and it's just just don't be stupid. We've earned these rights, and we barely have earned some of these rights. They're trying to take it away from us. So let's just just don't be dumb, and don't give them a reason to point the finger at us even more. Like I said, they're trying to keep us in the basement already. We can't smoke at events yet, and which is stupid. But let's just like I said, just be safe. Be mainly is just don't smoke and drive. Drink and drive. I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, but smoking and driving, like I said, you drop the ash, you drop your joint, you look down, boom. You know what I'm saying? And it's just stupid shit. Park. If you want to smoke in a car, park. Yeah. That's fine. Park and hot box, but because nothing's gonna happen then. But that's just a big thing. Just know your limits and don't be stupid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, try to follow all laws. Of course, local laws too. Cities have imposed certain things. Like Albuquerque has different rules than Cruces has.
Yes, right. Yes.
Slightly different.
Right.
Yeah, so make sure you guys are following all those laws. Stay safe. One thing I like to tell people is keep pepper or CBD with you on hand in case you do ingest too much cannabis.
That is a good one.
You can bring yourself down a little bit with the CBD or the pepper. I haven't tried the pepper method myself.
I've heard it.
Yeah, I've heard of it. It's like usually the cracked pepper, the full pepper.
Full pepper.
If you guys use that, usually I've been told it works. I haven't tried it myself, like I said, but the CBD I have tried and that does work. So on 420, always try to keep some CBD on hand just in case you do consume a little bit too much.
I actually had a little spell like that. I actually was over at Alter Ego's grow, or their little operation there, and they're homies. Shout out to them. They always invite me over just come smoke hash rolls and stuff. So I'm smoking, and then all of a sudden there's a tray of cookies there. And they told let's infuse, go for it, and they're delicious. Those are the dangerous ones, man. When they taste like you just want to munch them, boy. I don't know, maybe 2. Maybe 2 and maybe 2.5 because I woke up the next morning with a half in my pocket. In my jacket pocket, like a little kid. I'm just like, I stashed this.
I was gonna take that for later.
And so, but in the middle of the night, man, I woke up in a panic, like that panic, like, oh shit, sweating, like what's wrong, like what happened, like and so I'm like, oh, I'm too high, And finally, because edibles, they will, like I said, peak on you, and I guess I woke up and it peaked on me, and I was like, oh shit, CBD, and I had some CBD gummies. I was like, there's the ticket, took it. Stupidly, I went and smoked a little bong hit, to calm me down. But hey, it worked. I took a bong hit and some CBD, and about 30 minutes later, I was able to set back down and actually get rid of that feeling. So that's a very good tip. Good tip.
Yeah, thank you. And that's something I try, especially the people that are new to using cannabis. Or if this is your first 420. If this is your first 420, don't take edibles from anybody because most likely they're going to be making them the strongest edibles that you can possibly make on 420.
They don't know the dose.
Yeah, and now these days I do see certain people starting to make lower dosage things, which I love because the other day a friend came over and we had a brunch. We had like a little friend brunch thing, and one of the girls brought edibles, and they were 5 milligrams each.
Yes.
Little cupcake things, man. I had like 5. Yes. It was great. I was like, I can enjoy this and not like sit there like on the couch like, damn it.
Because they're tasty. You want to eat them, so they're good. And so I've seen like gummy companies do that instead of 10 100s, they do 520s. You know what I'm saying? Or so it adds up to 100. But it's like it's very, or like 10 10s, they do 520. And so they're cutting it down, and patients liking that, especially new, like I said, patients that are very new to the game. We've had patients come in and say, I don't take gummies a lot. So what's your lowest dose? And they always think it's the 10. And no, we have 5s now. And and they're used to taking half of the 10, so now they take half of the 5, if anything, if they want to start with half, because they usually do want to start with half of whatever they're eating. So, but no, you're right, because edibles are getting very tasty nowadays. So they're like they're dangerous. Just like I said, I was eating them, and I was like, oh shit. I think that's why I kept that half, because I was like, it hit me. Oh, these are edibles. Okay.
Yeah. Like I'll just save it for later. Then I ate it.
I don't want to be rude. I'm not throwing it away.
You're stoned as shit. You're like, okay.
They're smoking hash rolls, and so, but it's very, that's a very good tip to you. Like I said, know your limits, and don't take edibles from anybody, especially not off the street. Even if your friend makes them, he don't know the dosage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So just make sure if they're edibles, get them from a dispensary.
Yeah. If you're new, if you're well seasoned, like someone like us, then all day.
Whatever.
Make sure you keep that CBD with you too, because we are susceptible to high dosages and stuff like that. So what's some recommendations you can give people, someone new that doesn't really know what to do on 420 this year? I mean, do you know of any events going on?
So there's a lot of events. Usually a lot of dispensaries are having events. So we're going to have something at Wax House. We're going to have a food truck out there. Munchie Monsters, I think.
Okay.
They're going to be out there. Joseph Blanco owns that. The Blanco brothers. So they're going to be out there. I don't know what else we're going to have there, but we're going to have a few things. Of course, sales. We're going to start our 420 sales on Friday. So you don't have to wait in line. You don't have to be the first in line. So if you want to come Friday night, we're going to start our 420 sales on 419.
Cool.
So you can beat the lines.
Yeah.
And still get the savings. A lot of people wait. Oh, you gotta wait for 420 for this, and they want that line. No, come on in, and we're gonna run it the whole weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Those will be our. It's gonna be the 420 sales all weekend. Sassy Grass, I believe, is having an event. I like to go hit up those events. Just kind of hop around. Top Crop, I think, is having an event.
Is Laughing Grass happening again?
I believe so. Yes, of course, every year.
Third annual.
Yes, there you go. And like I said, Top Crop, I believe my homie Rosebike Twist will be there, rolling live. So if you want some hash rolls rolled up, bring your material and he'll get you set up. But that's really what I like to do. Go around checking out the events. There's a lot of events. Just check out Instagram and Facebook. There are so many events. Like I said, every dispensary will be having sales. Something will be popped up there. Vendors will be popped up at dispensaries.
And for businesses out there, I've been sharing events on my Instagram all week.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you guys want to send me, tag me in it, I'll share it. Just to let people know what's going on in the whole state. So
right.
I
think I saw that my homegirl. Cool. So my friend Brittany, I'm sure you know her. She's a rep for Incognito. She's going to be up there in Silver City, I believe. So they're having something up there even. So the whole state's going to be up there. She's all over. But yeah, so you'll catch her if you're over there. Go check her out. The Incognito has great products. They got really dope products, and especially that hot box. I really want one of those hot box vapes. They're really dope because honestly, I'm getting tired of carrying the puffco around everywhere. I want something really discreet. So
just small and discreet.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and she says it's awesome. It tastes great. So I'm gonna take her advice and grab one. So
awesome.
So there's a lot of events going on all around the state, Albuquerque, everything. So just go check them out. Of course, they're gonna have the specials, and what I like to do, I just like to chill at home. Honestly, just get
There's a lot of good movies on that
too.
day.
Yes,
Yeah.
They always seem to put out something. Like I said, good movies or something. They're not dumb.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like to chill at home. I'm gonna be working until 4, so of course come by and see me till 4. After that, I'm gonna go around, hopping around and go take out the Laughing Grass Festival, maybe. Stuff around here, and at the end of the night, probably just go to my boy's house and just chill and have a good sesh there. So
cool.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Yeah. Thanks for those tips, man.
Of course,
some people might be new into town and everything. So where can people find Wax House here in Cruces before we move on to the next topic?
So it's at 725 South Solano. We are actually right. If you know where Alter Ego and Casa Verde is, we are literally within a stone's throw of either of those dispensaries to the north.
Cool.
So yeah. So we're going north from them, and like I said, we're right across the street from the old Blakes on Solano. We're right before the canal.
Yeah.
On Solano.
Solano, it's hard to miss things. It's a very competitive area. So you guys are right in the midst of it. So but appreciate that. Thank you. And I look forward to see what comes from the Wax House and everything. That's pretty cool. It's a cool new little niche that I haven't seen somebody really do yet.
Yes, and we are going to start producing like that sort of thing. We have a lab in the back. We have a lab, so we are going to start producing. We got washing machines. We got grow tent set up. That's our next phase. We want to get up and running, so we got products on the shelves. And then we actually acquired the space next to us on our Summerlin Park store. So we sent our construction team over there to start a lounge. So we're going to have a lounge right next door in Summerlin Park. So if you're there, be on the lookout for that. Roundhouse, we're going to have a lounge now right next door. So when they get done there, then they're going to come back and start working on the lab and everything and get that finished. So we are going to start producing solventless rosin and diamonds and stuff like that. Here, cool. Probably within the next year, we'll have that up and running.
Cool. So, well, I look forward to seeing all the changes and all the good stuff, man. Of course. So, yeah.
So much.
Again, thank you for joining me, and let's get on to the next topic and everything. So, yeah, thanks for sharing that and everything, and thanks for the tips for 420.
Yes, thank you, too. That pepper and the CBD, I mean, that's, of course, I don't ever expect to have CBD on hand, but for newbies, that's a very good tip.
100%. So, we're going to go on to our next topic. We got a couple left. This one, I don't know how long I'm going to spend on it, but, it's really important because some companies on the East Coast have actually sued the federal government because they don't want them to interfere with their interstate commerce. Now, when I say that, what I really mean is that they cater to a lot of out-of-state people, just like how we do here in New Mexico. We cater to a lot of Texans, and actually, a majority of our out-of-state purchases are Texans. Oh yeah. It's very rare you see from another state.
A few Colorados. Colorado and
it's mostly Texans. So we're in the same boat. Now, the federal government has a rebuttal because this lawsuit's been going on for a little bit. I just caught wind of it this morning. And the reason why I'm talking about it is because it's very important for us, too, because it could help us with our Border Patrol issue on top of that. This could kick the federal government in the ass to kind of do something, because now we're talking about states on the East Coast. If a lot of you don't know, 70% of Americans live east of the Mississippi. So west of the Mississippi, there's only 30% of the population. So majority of the population of the nation is on that side anyway. And so if we can get the senators and the rest of congressional people, the representatives, to kind of get their asses going on this, then we have more of a fight on our hands. With just little New Mexico screaming whatever, it only does so much. But once you have bigger states, bigger companies with a bigger population on that side of the nation screaming about it, then things start to move. And I kind of see this being something that we can attach to with that issue to kind of get the ball rolling. Because to me, from my analytical side, everything I've seen, it seems that cannabis is having such a momentum right now on the federal side that it's coming soon. I feel it. I just don't know exactly when. I want to say 420, we're going to get an announcement, guys, but I have no clue. It could be, right before election happens. It could be, during the summer, because right now it's up to the DEA, or it could be up to Congress if they decide to put a bill in and they rocket docket that bitch through. And next thing you know, 2 months later, we have a bill on the president's desk, which rarely ever happens in our legislative process, especially on the federal side. Well, on the federal side, because state-wise, we only get 30 and 60 days. But this is really important, and like I said, I wanted to talk about it because companies doing this is speaking a lot, because they're not even really being attacked like we are. They're not like getting their stuff seized. They're just in fear because the federal government is now saying that, you guys have something called cannabis tourism, is what they're calling it. And that's what we have too. And so they called it cannabis tourism, the DOJ. And so that alerts me because, maybe they're all working together on this now, because we have cannabis tourism here in New Mexico from Texas. And Massachusetts, that's where this lawsuit's coming from. They have the same thing. Most of their customers come from out of state. And if you guys don't know, if you're from another country, I guess, most of the states on the East Coast are small compared to the ones on the West. So it's very easy to, run into another state, within an hour, 45 minutes sometimes on that side. I've never been, but all my military buddies that are from there tell me, how...
Never been to the far East Coast, right? I think Oklahoma was the furthest east I've been, honestly.
I've been in Tennessee before. We did some training there before I went to Germany, and that was fun, but, it was nothing like the rest of the East Coast areas.
I've been this way. I haven't.
I haven't been to that New England area, I guess is what I'm saying. And so... There's some really big companies that are behind this lawsuit. I don't know if I have them named here. I do, actually. It's led by a multi-state operator, as you guys know, MSO, Verano Holdings, a Massachusetts-based cannabis business, Canna Provisions, and Wiseacre Farm. It's a weird word. I think it's someone's last name, but I think it's Wiseacre Farm, along with Trevit CEO Gaesi Sellers. So I guess they're being represented by a certain law firm, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. That was not really important to you guys, I know. But these are the companies that are behind this lawsuit. The federal government did say that you guys have cannabis tourism going on. That alerts me because they could easily say the same for us.
It's true.
And that could be the reason why the Border Patrol is doing this, because something like this, because Massachusetts or all these companies aren't just going to sue the federal government for no reason. Like
Yes.
something's going on. And
Right.
so I'm
There you
thinking
go.
maybe the federal government did send them something, and that could have triggered it. So it seems that they're working together. The weird thing about it is Border Patrol is under Homeland Security. They're not a part of DOJ.
Yes.
Yeah, but the FBI, the DEA, they're all part of DOJ. So they still talk to each other.
I was gonna say.
So I'm kind of wondering, is Homeland Security and DOJ kind of working together on this
The
thing
same
now
topic.
too? Yeah, the same topic. So now are we going to see more? And that's scary.
We need to watch for, like I said, those seizures maybe
Yeah.
happening on the East Coast, and
Yeah.
then come on, what's the coincidence on that?
Yeah.
Come on.
Exactly.
You're right.
And so this alerts me and alarms me because we could not only get fucked over because of our Border Patrol checks, but now we might be
Our
under
government.
threat from the federal government because we have what they're calling a cannabis tourism
Yes.
going on
'Cause
because
they can
people from out of
label it as
state
something.
are coming here to use cannabis and going out, which to me that sounds like bullshit because well now you're telling me I can't go to other states and do certain things.
And true,
Like, that's
true. And
weird.
I was saying, how long has this cannabis tourism been happening in California?
Colorado,
And so
Washington,
have
Oregon.
they done this? Like, to
Yeah.
them, I haven't heard of nothing like that.
Yeah.
So you're probably right. It's the government. I'm not, I can't say nothing. I shouldn't say nothing, but it's, it sounds like, something's going on.
Yeah, and this could be, someone, politically wise just hates cannabis this much. There's so much reefer
Has some
madness in their
pull.
mind.
It has a little bit of pull.
Yeah, it has some pull. Maybe this is their last term or whatever, and they just want to go out with a bang. I have no clue.
Right.
We'll figure out in time. Eventually, we'll figure out why this is happening and why all of these things are kind of falling in place in the timeline that they are. Because I found out about this today, but it looks like the lawsuit's been in, I think, a few weeks now.
Okay.
And they had
This is the first time I heard about it.
Yeah, me too. So like I sent it to a couple people this morning, and I was like, okay, this is interesting because this could affect us as well. So we'll see what happens. I'm not too sure where they're at with the lawsuit other than that response from the federal government. I do know that they did ask for a hearing.
Yes.
So I'll keep you guys updated and everything like that. That's just really all the information I have on this right now. I haven't read the lawsuit or anything exactly what it says, but they did ask for a hearing so that way they can kind of say their statements and everything and blah, blah, blah.
Yes, they want to be heard.
Yeah, if New Mexico and the businesses here were smart, we would start getting with these companies on the East Coast to kind of try to work together on this to try to figure out a better way. Because now you have East Coast and West working on this in conjunction. And I feel that that's more power behind that. Because now Senator Cory Booker, he actually is aware of this. And as you guys know, he's very pro-cannabis and he fights for it too. He's part of the Cannabis Caucus that's over in D.C. I saw an article where he was actually alerted and he was like, I didn't know this was going on, but now I'm interested.
Okay.
So
boy.
we have more senators who aren't even our representatives for the state. Now they're interested in our issue. So we could see some help there. Yeah, that's all we need.
Yes.
And something like this lawsuit, he could probably catch wind of it too and be like, okay, what's going on? So hopefully you can figure something.
Rocket scientist. We already can see something's going on.
Yeah, the pattern's starting to make sense.
Yes.
Okay, I see a pattern now. So once I get more information on this, and I'm gonna look into this exact thing more. It's just I found this morning when I was making the guide.
Yeah.
And so I'll get more information on this from you guys in time. I'll report it, and we'll be back on the show. But that's really much all I have on this. I just hope something good comes from it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it could something bad could come from it, but like I said, it just seems like they're fishing.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to stir something up, just like you said. Someone might be, like I said, with some pull, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And there wasn't much to say about that one because this is so new.
Yeah.
It's such a new thing that's going on, but it's so important that we know about this because, like I said, this can and may and who knows will affect us. Hopefully for the better. So that's all I have for that one, guys. I'm gonna move on to this next one, and it's kind of similar to the last one because this is the DEA reschedule or deschedule update. Because as you guys know, the DEA is figuring out, I don't know why it's taking so long.
Right.
They're trying to figure out if we should reschedule, deschedule, or do nothing at all when it comes to cannabis because DEA is in charge of what goes on the scheduling and what level they're on. So it's literally up to the DEA if cannabis should be on there at all. As you guys know, Human and Health Services, they recommend a Schedule 3. Schedule 3 still keeps it under a criminal penalty for possession of recreational use. It's only going to be for medical use, so essentially to be like an over-the-counter medication. Some people are okay with that, but that really interferes with the current models that the states have already kind of created.
Yes.
And that's one reason why I am a firm believer that if we do go the Schedule 3 route, we'll be stuck with two different industries.
Yes.
The 280E, and we'll have the Schedule 3.
Yes.
Because certain states' models, they're just going to lose millions, if not billions of dollars if they just go
the whole
this
industry,
route.
maybe.
Yeah, it'll just collapse the whole industry.
Yeah.
And, you'll have to be pure medically. And I get it, it's good. We'll have it for medical purposes, blah, 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 but that doesn't answer the question. That doesn't answer the question for the legal industries that we've already set up. And that's my
step
concern.
back, in my opinion.
Me too, 100%. It's a step back. Don't get me wrong, if this was maybe year 2000, 2008 maybe even, 2010, this would be a good move.
I agree.
But we went a different route. We went legalization through the states one by one, and now they have full-on adult use. You don't need a medical cannabis card. You don't have to go into the medicine aisle of a store, and you don't have to worry about getting punished through your state, at least, for recreational use.
Yes.
Doing Schedule 3, that kind of changes all that. Now, there is a lot of benefits when it comes to Schedule 3. Don't get me wrong. You can do banking. There's less restrictions. You'll be able to deduct taxes, all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the user, you were kind of screwed.
Yes.
Yeah, the consumer is screwed. So when it comes to the border checks, even the companies will be okay to go through as long as they have the paperwork. If they're on the Schedule 3 side, if they're on the 280E side, they can still probably get fucked with.
Which is so dumb. It's like, come on, just pick one or the other. My belief is we should do nothing. Just for right now.
Yeah.
For right now, leave it. Because honestly, another reason why if that happens, I believe the quality is going to go. And a lot of these farms are going to have to close because there's not going to be such a demand for it.
Yeah.
There's still going to be demand, but obviously, I would say half. It's going to cut almost half. Like you said, about half of the consumers that are going to be able to have access to it. And the quality will go down, and because it's just what will happen. I just know. As being in the industry, if you just can see the trends and the topics and what will happen if certain things happen. So
because the states already say, fuck your federal laws, we're going to do what we want.
So
who's going to stop the states from doing that once this happens?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So just because it's Schedule 3 doesn't mean that the states are going to abide by that. There's going to be some who might not. Because we can see how rebellious the individual states can be. Very, very, until it becomes the normal. And the reason why I brought this up is yesterday during a press briefing, at the time recording anyway, during a press briefing for the White House, the press secretary was asked a question about the timeline for cannabis being rescheduled or descheduled, and she responded with, that is actually in the hands of the DOJ now. If some people got confused and laughed at her because she was wrong, but the DEA does fall under the DOJ, as well as other people, like, ATF falls under the DOJ, FBI falls under the DOJ, and I believe the Marshal Services falls under the DOJ?
I think so, because they have what's that? They can go wherever, like you said.
The air marshals. Their jurisdiction. They have a wide jurisdiction. So I believe they're under the DOJ. Pretty much anything that has to do with the police force kind of thing, for the most part, is under DOJ. Of course, you have, the weird one, the Homeland Security, which they have the Coast Guard and the Border Patrol, which is just kind of random because the Coast Guard is military. So the Coast Guard is literally the only entity that's not under DOD, which is Department of Defense. And that's, Army, Marines, Air Force, etc. So that's what is weird about Coast Guard, is they're not a part of any of those. They're like...
They're military, but...
Yeah, the Department of Homeland Security's military, is essentially. So, but yes, the DEA does fall under the DOJ, so she wasn't wrong. She was just using the overall umbrella term. So it's in the DOJ's hand at this point. It's their decision what's going to happen. I think there's just more pressure being put on the federal government now. Like we said, the last story that we talked about, with the lawsuit against the federal government. And now we have more of the media asking questions to our representatives, Cory Booker, about if he knew about the Border Patrol issue. And now we have, the press asking the press secretary, what's going on with the timeline. So it seems like they're kind of being pressured more by everybody, which is great. What we need to do. So don't stop is what I'm saying. Keep that shit up.
Because they're just going to sit there and do nothing until the time runs out, until their allotted time. They're just going to sit there.
Yeah. So what it seems to me is that people are just becoming very impatient with the DEA. Even last week, actually the past few weeks, some of our congressional representatives have been sending letters either to Biden himself saying that he's not doing enough, to go on his promise about the cannabis thing that he has, which the Border Patrol thing is part of that.
Big thing.
Yeah, they said that, hey, this is going on, like, you're not doing what you said you're doing, like what is this? Yeah. And then you have other of them, going after the DEA, saying what's taking so long. Then you have other ones going after another one, saying this and this. So we have representatives that are wanting to do something. It's just they need to know. So we need to be better at letting them know.
Yes.
Today on X, I actually tagged Cory Booker on the Border Patrol issue, and I let him know what's going on. I don't know if he's going to respond or even see it. But it's worth a shot.
Yeah, I'm sure
it's worth a shot, especially on
someone
X.
from his team will see it.
Yeah, maybe someone from his team will see it.
Of course.
And I hope, because I have direct information on what's going on with that. So I want my representatives to know what's going on. So maybe he can do something, and maybe they can file something. I have no clue.
Right, you don't know what they can do.
Go talk to somebody. Maybe he knows somebody at DEA, kind of figure out what's going on. Who knows? They have the limits of their power, but when you know somebody and you have a relationship with somebody, that makes it all the difference. And that's what I'm learning with politics too. Sometimes it's who you know.
Especially with politics.
With politics, a lot of the times it's who you know. And sometimes a politician that you could piss off in a good way could get something done for you. You didn't piss them off, but something that happened to you could piss them off. And I've seen it.
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen it. And this is really important, this update, and what was asked to the secretary, because it just means that we're making more waves on this, and we could see something here soon. It just, to me, it's kind of adding up that things are starting to funnel down, and we could get our explanation here very soon, or our results of what the DEA is going to say.
Sure.
Because this is a lot to just sit there and tell somebody and no action happens. Especially with everything I've just told you guys.
There's plenty there to go on. There's plenty there to work with. So they should, like I said, start to get shit done, especially when people are pressuring them,
and they work for us. So, and that's one thing that they realize. So, and I'll keep all y'all updated on this as it goes on. That's really all I have for it. I wanted to update you guys on this. I do have one more thing before we leave today, and that is actually before the show started. As I said before, at the very beginning, I found out that Michelle Lujan Grisham, and thank you, Gino, for letting me know this, has actually announced a special legislative session that's going to be happening in July. Now, the weird thing about special sessions is the governor has full control about what's going to be heard in the legislature, unlike a regular legislative session where she doesn't have much power or full control of what bills are heard in the legislature. For this one, she does. And usually these are very short. Sometimes they're a couple of days long, sometimes a week or two long. I think the longest we had was like a month at one point or something like that. Don't quote me on that. That could be totally incorrect. But from my remembrance of my being on this earth, I've only seen it, I think, about a month long. So we could see this a couple days long. We could see it a week long. As some of you know, in 2021, cannabis became legal during a special session, and it was meant to pass cannabis. So the only reason why we have legal cannabis is because of a special session like this. The reason why I'm telling you guys about this is because there is a chance that a cannabis bill of some sort could be introduced, because the governor has said that this will be focusing on public safety. She never mentions guns, rifles, or bans or anything, but she said she will look at the bills, and if it's dealing with public safety or whatever, then she'll give it the blessing to be heard in the legislature. So that gives us a chance to add more to the program on a public safety side on certain things. Could it be give the CCD more police power, et cetera, something on that front? Now that kind of limits us on really what we can do in the bill, because it does have to focus on public safety. So keep that in mind. I just wanted you all to know about this. You're going to most likely see gun bills with this special session. It's not going to be anything, really catered to cannabis, but on the off chance that there is one,
she could bring it up, like you said.
She could bring it up. Or the CCD can go like, hey, this is a good chance for us to address this issue that does affect public safety. And she could agree, and then a bill could be introduced that way. So I wanted you all to know this. That's very important that we know about this, because there is an opportunity to add something else. Again, this is going to be in July. Don't know how long the session is going to be. Don't know what's going to be in it. We'll get more information as time goes. So With that being said, if you guys don't want to miss all the updates, make sure you like, follow, subscribe, whatever you got to do to make sure you're in the know, and I'll be there. So thank you again, Blake, for joining me. It's been great. Yeah, man, it was a great conversation. You know, you shared a lot of great information. We had some good conversations. And I look forward to see what you do in the future with the industry, and to see what Wax House does.
I'll be here, like I said. I'll be following you as well. Like I said, I really appreciate everything that you do for the industry as well. You're really making waves and doing a bunch, especially for us here in the South, for sure. So I really appreciate your hard work.
Thank you, man. Well, I really appreciate that, brother.
You got it.
Heck yeah, man.
So, thanks for having me again.
Heck yeah, appreciate it, man. I'll see you guys next week. All right, shoots.